everyone, it's Kristin from Town Hall, and it is time for our ArtVentures of the week. So today what I thought we could do is paint things that we find in nature. So hopefully you've had a chance, and if you haven't had a chance, then why don't you go ahead and take a chance and go outside and find some things that you can paint. So I found some pine cones, I found a rock, I found a brick, I found some leaves, and you can find leaves of all shapes and sizes. Look how big that thing is. I've got some sticks. What else do I have here? I have a piece of bark, and I have a bigger stick. Might even be cool if you do a branch, like a really tall branch. Then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get some paint. So I have already taken the liberty of putting paint on a paper plate. You can pick whatever colors you want, and because I'm at work, I have lots of paintbrushes to choose from. If you only have one paintbrush, make sure that you get yourself a cup of water and a paper towel, just so you can rinse in between all of the different colors. So what you're going to want to do is paint however you want. Be ready to get messy. I decided to come outside today just because I figured sometimes I get messy, as you all know. So it might be better to paint outside, and kind of fun to paint outside. You don't always get to do that. So I'm sitting at a picnic table, and I did put a tablecloth on, something that can get messy just because it's not my picnic table, so I don't want to get it dirty. Make sure you have some clothes that can get paint, because sometimes paint will stain. Make sure you have just lots of fun things to paint, and we'll see what we can do with it. So pretty much there's no method to this. We're not painting anything particular. I'm just going to paint and just see what happens. It's just fun to paint on different items and see what it's like to apply paint to something different. Like, how many times do you actually paint a pine cone? This might be my very first time. So I think I'm going to use pink, and I'm just going to take my paintbrush and I'm just going to drape it across. And it doesn't have to be perfect. If you want to do each little section of pine cone, you can. I'm not sure if I want to do all pink, so I think what I'm going to do is kind of change it up. What color do you think would go good with pink? Purple? I kind of like the pink and the blue mixed. Let's see what that would look like. I might get kind of a cool color if I mix it. And there we go. It's almost kind of like a lavender or violet kind of color. And then if you're painting outdoors, the cool thing is that you're already outside, so everything can just dry. And then when it's all completely dry, you can just take it in the house. So if you are lucky and you find a lot of pine cones, like if you live close to Groveport Town Hall, and if you walk down Main Street, like you're going towards the recreation center, you're going to find some pine cones there. If you go down Front Street in Groveport, you're going to find some pine cones there. With all the wind and the rain we've had lately, it should be pretty easy to find branches and sticks and things like that. Leaves should be pretty easy to find too. And then just get all the different items that you'd like to paint, bring them inside or take them outside in your yard. You could even just sit in the grass and paint. That would be fun too. And you don't have to use a paintbrush. If you just want to put the pine cone on your plate and kind of dip it, you could do that. If you want to keep your paint, see that? So it's nice and covered. If you want to keep your paint in your bottle, you could just squeeze it and kind of, it would just dribble down. You could do that too. So I'm going to set this pine cone off to the side to dry a little bit. And now let's see what it would be like to paint on a stick. Now, you could paint it all one color. You could paint it all sorts of different colors. So I think I am going to paint the top a little bit of yellow. Now what's cool about painting nature is you can use it for lots of decorations. So like if your mom or dad maybe have like flower pots that they like to use this time of year and put it on the front porch with different types of flowers, maybe they would let you add some of your colored nature. If anyone has a fairy garden, or if you want to make a fairy garden, You know what would be cool is to collect your own sticks and branches and then paint them just to add some color. You don't always have to go to the store and buy all of the supplies there. You can kind of use what you have available at home or in the house around you, like in your yard and stuff. So I'm gonna just kind of go and rotate colors and see what this will look like. So see, I'm just taking my paintbrush and I'm covering all the sides. I mean, I've never painted on a stick before. So it's pretty cool. And you can make sure that all the sections are colored so you don't leave any empty spots or bare spots. You don't want to see the wood coming through, right? So far I've got green and yellow. If you like to go hiking with your family, it might be fun to maybe paint a walking stick. And if you have brothers or sisters, or even if you just want to know, okay, I think I'm going to paint mine this color, so that way your walking stick doesn't get mixed up with mom or dad's. So that would be fun too. You can kind of just decorate them, and that way you'll always know, no, Tommy, that's mine, you can't use mine, right? So I've got so far 4 colors. And like I said, if you want to do all one color, you can, but it'll take a little bit longer if you spice it up and use different colors. Makes it more fun, don't you think? So it's coming along here. Now, when it's finished and you look at it, you're probably going to be like, oh, that doesn't even look like a stick anymore, because it's just going to be so colorful. And remember, you're going to have to maybe get a little bit messy or dirty, so just be prepared for that. I know some people don't really like to get messy or dirty, so you may want to have like a wet paper towel close by so you can clean off your hands and stuff. I, as you know, I'm not too worried about that, because see how I'm painting my fingernail as I'm painting the stick? Okay, there's one colorful stick. I'm going to set that up here so it can dry. Now I was thinking too, like on your front porch, if you have like a corner, if you got some really tall branches, I mean taller than this one, it would be really cool to maybe paint it and decorate it, and then you could lean it, well, let's do it this way. You could lean it up in the corner of your porch, and that would just be kind of a cool, unusual decoration to have around. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try to paint this bark now. So see, when you go to the craft store, usually you get paper or you can get a canvas to paint on, but have you ever painted on a piece of bark? No. Now, did I take this off of a tree? Yes, but I went to Front Street, and I don't know if you heard, but a while ago we had a really crazy storm where the wind was super, super strong, and a tree fell down on Front Street. And if I'm correct, I think even some of it landed on a part of a police car. So thankfully, that police officer was safe, but the tree, we had to cut that down because we couldn't just drive around it and leave it in the road forever, right? So some of the city workers came and they had to cut down the tree so it wouldn't keep dropping branches and hurting anything. And so I took this bark off of that tree. It was flaked. I didn't really even have to work at it. It was kind of just resting there, and I just popped it off and brought it back to town hall so I could paint it. So see, look at this so far. Kind of like the blue and the pink mixed together, or like a different shade of purple. But it's kind of cool to see how, when you're painting, how the paint coats it. Since it's bark, it's not smooth, it's kind of bumpy. And what you could do too is once you paint it and you let it dry, you could go back and paint a different design on it. You could try to paint it on the back side too if you want. So let's see here. I haven't used any white yet. Let's try that. Oh, got a little bit of purple mixed in. Look at that. Can you tell that there's purple mixed in? Might not be able to on the screen there. So we'll go ahead and set that off to dry. Let's see here. How about painting a rock? I've got a real smooth one, and I think on this one, just because it's so smooth and flat, I might be able to paint something. Let's see here what would be easy to do. I was going to say a ladybug, but I didn't bring red, so how about I just do a sun? That should be pretty easy, right? And you don't have to paint anything on it. This is just for fun, like I said, just to see all the different things that you can paint on without having to go to the store. Now, do you want to go walking down the street and pull leaves off of someone's tree? Probably not. So if you're going to pull a leaf off of something, you might want to make sure it's at your house. Some people don't really want kids and adults pulling leaves off of their trees in their yard or their plants. Okay, so far here's my little sun that I'm making. And I might try to spice it up with a little bit of orange maybe. Now, have you guys ever heard of painted rocks? That's something that people like to do too. They like to paint rocks and then kind of hide them around. Some people like to write things on them, like be kind. You see a lot of that nowadays. So that's something that you could do too. You could paint rocks and hide them. I think I got an awful lot of paint here today. So I found this. Oops. Go ahead and see. Like I said, what would really be fun maybe is if you take this, all these items that you painted, and maybe add it to your fairy garden, or maybe make a fairy garden. You could just do that, like if you have mulch by your house or just a flower bed, maybe there's a little section that mom and dad will let you kind of create your own little garden there. You could put Lego pieces in it. If you have any animals, like plastic animals that could stay outside, that wouldn't matter if they got wet. But look, this could be like a little house for somebody to live in. See that? So you could put that in your little garden and pretend that's a place for someone to live. Now, what about a leaf? Let's see if we can paint this. I'm gonna go back to pink because I think pink will show up well. Now, what you see on this leaf here, you've got all those little different sections. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint inside and kind of alternate my colors. Now again, this is your art. You can do it however you want. I want to see what it looks like when I paint in different colors. And do you have to use a paintbrush? No. You could use pretty much anything you want. So I've got two colors so far. Now we'll go ahead and move on to this color. You could probably paint with a Q-tip. You could use your fingers. What else could you do? Pretty much anything. And with all this nature that you're finding, you can get a bunch of leaves and maybe find a stick, wrap them around, and that could be a paintbrush for you. If you have a pine tree, you could use some pine needles and wrap those around a stick and use those for a brush. I should have gotten a couple more paintbrushes, at least for me. See how it's coming along there? So I think it looks cool if you choose to do multiple colors, and you don't have to do this kind of pattern, but you could put anything on it. I mean, it's getting to be hot outside. You could put a snowman on there if you want to remember what it's like to be cold in the winter. Let's see here. This one, I think I might just do some different colored sides. You know, at my house, we have a couple rocks that have been painted. We have one that happens to look like it's the shape of a triangle, and actually now that I look at this, it's kind of a triangle shape. And what do you think that looks like at my house? A slice of pizza, right? So it's got cheese and pepperoni on it. Now, like I said, I didn't bring red out, but maybe I can put some little spots on here to kind of look like it's pepperoni. See? And then I think I'll switch to another side. Do some green. But it does, it just kind of adds some color to your yard, to your porch. If you want to keep them in your house, you could do that too. Like if you have any pets, you could put it outside. Like if you had a fish tank, don't put it in your fish tank because you don't want to put the paint in there, but maybe you could kind of decorate around the outside of your fish tank if you have a fish. Okay, so I've got a green side now. Let's see here, we'll go ahead and try blue on another side. I know this is not as fun since we're not together doing this, but I hope that you did get a chance to collect some items outside and that you were able to bring them home and paint them, because it is pretty fun. And painting is kind of relaxing too. So if you've had a hard day playing outside, need to take a break, if it's really hot, you can come in or find a spot outside where you're allowed to paint. So see, got some different colors on here. I'm gonna set it down so it can dry and see how messy I'm getting. It's okay. Now let's move on and let's see if we can maybe try to paint on this big, ginormous leaf that I found. It's got a little bit of dirt on it and a little bit of blue paint already. So this you could use as your mat even too. It's so big. It'll help keep the table protected. But it's cool to see how when you put the paint on, what it looks like. It's not always smooth, doesn't always cover perfect, but that's okay. This is just the fun of it. I'm going to switch up the colors here. Probably get a bunch of leaves, paint them, and once they dry, you could kind of arrange them together and they'd look like a little bouquet of flowers maybe. That would be something colorful to have lying around the house. So here's part of the leaf that started to paint. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Try blue. And you could just paint the whole thing blue if that's your all-time favorite color. And again, you don't just have to paint it colors. If you want to paint it to actually look like something, you can make the rainbow on here. You could draw Pokemon, something from Fortnite, unicorn, llama, ice cream cone. I should have brought brown. I could have painted an ice cream cone on here. But you just paint. You don't have to paint every section if you don't want to. But look at this. I am painting without going to the craft store to get something to paint on. And hopefully you do have some paint at your house. If not, earlier this week we made our own paint. You could try that by using flour, salt, and water, and then some food coloring to give it a color that you like. That's something that you could do. Let's try green. I don't know how great it'll show up since I'm painting on a green leaf, but we'll see. Oh, not too bad. Looks like I'm gonna have some extra paint left over. I went a little crazy when I squirted it out of the container. You see the leaf? I'm going to set that aside to dry. Now, obviously, if you're at home, you can paint the whole thing. And here's another pretty big branch that fell down from a tree. So like I said, it would be super fun if you paint this and then place it on your front porch somewhere or your back porch somewhere, just for some added color. It's probably cheaper than buying a whole bunch of flowers at the nursery, huh? If you have a garden, you could probably turn these into garden stakes. You could get a different color paint. You could write on what it is that's planted there. So like if you have tomato plants, or if you have green beans growing, or peppers or zucchini, you could write on your stick. Okay, so here's where all of the pepper plants are growing, or here's where all my cucumbers are. And just color it, paint it all the way around. And like I said, if you're able to do it outside, that's kind of cool because it should dry pretty quick and then you're already outside. So when you're painting, you can kind of look around the yard and say, I think that's a good spot. I'll go put this over here when I'm finished. So look at that. It's one way to make a stick look a lot cuter, huh? and just brown. I know a lot of people like the color brown, but if you add some color to it, it kind of makes it look pretty nice, huh? And that's that. That's all we were going to do today for ArtVentures. But I just wanted you to know that you don't just have to paint on paper. You don't just have to paint on a canvas. You can really paint on anything. Now, you have to ask Mom and Dad this, but you could probably paint on like some old toys. You have to ask. But why not, right? If you're not playing with them anymore, and if you get washable paint, you could paint on them for fun and then wash it off, and then they'll be like brand new again. So, this is what I hope that will happen. I hope that you will find some cool things in nature. Now remember, there are bugs in nature, but we don't want to paint them. So preferably find something that is growing in your yard, preferably, so you don't make your neighbors mad. Collect it and paint it. Like I said, now's a good time to find a whole bunch of sticks or branches from all the wind and rain that we've had lately. But you paint however much you want, whatever colors you like. Set it out to dry. Look, this is my first stick I did, and it's already dry. But look at that. Aren't those cute? And then here's my bark. So you can put everything together and kind of make a little collage of all your stuff. If you got a whole bunch of these, you could paint a whole bunch of them and set them out somewhere too. Your pine cones. And then let's look one more time at my sunshine I painted on my rock. My baby leaf that I started to paint. My other rock that I painted all the sides. And then how about that big leaf? Now I can finish painting this, but I'm not going to make you watch me do it because it's going to take a while. So get some stuff in nature, get your paint and some paintbrushes, paint, and have fun, and I can't wait to hear about it next time I see you. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye.